What is going on, fellas? And welcome back to Hungary for Success with me, FoggyPlays on FM21. Today I'm going to show you the teams we drew in the Europa League group stage and what we could have had if we had made it to the Champions League. We're also going to be taking on FmGreeno in the league. So if you do want to enjoy this episode, make sure to like and subscribe. Now let's get into the video. So as you can see from the group in front of you, this is what we could have had we qualified from the playoffs into the Champions League. Porto, Liverpool, Leipzig. I'm kind of glad we didn't make it, because that looks hard. That looks like a group that we would never have gotten out of, and probably would have struggled for form all season because we would have been smashed 6 times. But thankfully we got a slightly easier group. No, we didn't, to be fair. We've Bayer Leverkusen, who we are playing today, Shakhtar, Sologorsk, and Basel. We should have won the first 2 games. As you can see, drew and lost, so it's not been great. But since we were here last, we have suffered many defeats. Well, not that many, but we suffered defeats against Meshkoved, Shakhtar, Sologorsk, and in the last game, Ferver, who really did not deserve to win the game, but they did. We've beaten Pax in the league, and Boyhad in the cup 9-0. I was a little bit disappointed. Did expect to win by a couple of goals more, but the game against Basel, 92nd minute equaliser, which was very frustrating, and MTK was a draw where neither team really deserved to win the game, but neither team really deserved to lose the game. It was one of those games where I guess a draw was fair, but not really. So we're taking on Bayer Leverkusen after we take on FmGreeno. We have some transfers going on. I won't show you any of the guys that are coming in. But we have lost, unfortunately. Juan Ortiz has left for Ecuador. He's gone back to play in Ecuador again. Wanted Champions League football and then decided to go back to Ecuador. It just makes perfect sense. Eidergaard has left for Meshkoved and for some reason decided second division, or the second team for Meshkoved was a better option for him. 63,000, a little bit disappointing. Norbert Papp left, and Shabos also vacated. We have sold Rocky Bashiri. He's off to Mexico for £1 million in December. I wasn't getting as many games. He couldn't be registered for the Europa League because we were short players. So a little bit disappointed, and he came to me and said, I want to leave, and I was like, okay, fair enough. But these are the players we're bringing in, with 2 players coming from Mimosa, a goalkeeper and a central midfielder. We've also got a central midfielder coming from Bodo Glimt, but I've already shown you him, and an attack midfielder from Tours. So as you can see, wage budget still at 15k, 14 a bit k, and a nice amount of transfer budget remaining. So it's all looking pretty spicy at the moment. But I didn't actually show you the league. We are after dropping to 4th. Not ideal. A win today would put us top of the league again. But we have to beat FmGreeno to do so. Ferver play MTK tomorrow, so I'm hoping MTK can do the business against them. But this is how we're lining up for this game against FmGreeno. Hood Wagner has been very, very poor recently. So I've been playing Milan Werner, who's our 17-year-old Czech goalkeeper. It's been okay, not exceptional, it's been fine. But Pirlevsku and Rentira as our wingbacks. Derek and Christian Mark, who, this guy is very, very good. I like this guy. He's scoring goals. He's 6'6". He's a bit of a monster. Kovic and Jan Wanaro are Mozambique international now. He's after getting himself a couple of games, a couple of goals for us. Versace and Abe as our wide men. Mendoza and Mandira as our strikers. We do have Matteo on the bench. He's been decent. He's scored against that team in the Hungarian Cup, whatever their name was, but they're not very good. We also had Ali Nassau make his debut for Comoros. Decided to go play for them instead of France, because I don't think he's ever going to make it for France. So I think that might have been a clever idea on his part. The game against Ferver, did not go according to plan because we had quite a number of players unavailable. So I'm going to tell the lads to go out and play football, essentially. I'm hoping that Mandira can show up, or not Mandira, Mendoza can show up today, because he's was a little bit poor in the last couple of games, which has not been like him at all recently. He's been quite solid, and recently he's just not really shown his solid ability. He's had a couple of assists, but he's just not been scoring, which is pretty much the entire reason he plays in this team. Has a header, and Dibish manages to keep a hold of it. We did have two of our players called up to the Hungarian national team, Hudvagner and Puskás, and both of them seem to just get randomly dropped from the team, even though they've both been selected, and neither of them got injured for the game against, I think it was Ireland, and I think they played against Wales, and Mandira's hit the crossbar. But yeah, Hudvagner gets called up quite a lot, but never actually gets a game. And Puskás is in and out of the team quite a lot. He's sitting on the bench for today's game because Derek and Christian Mark have kind of solidified quite a decent defensive partnership between them. They're both Brazilian, so I suppose that's assisting in their endeavours. But we'll have to see if we can get out of this dodgy run of form that we're in. That was such a bad pass by Christian Mark. And Mayer gets it to Bolly. How is Bolly still playing for FmGreeno? Like, he's been on the verge of signing for American clubs constantly, and somehow is still playing for FmGreeno. It can't be long till he retires though, because he is definitely in his early 30s at this stage. So kind of hoping that he does one. Pierre Levsky is going to be taking the penalty that we've just won. So left back wins the penalty, right back steps up to take it. He has missed a few penalties this year. Not this time though. Yes, get in. He put one. It was a really important game. It was the first leg against Legia. I think he put it. Was it Legia? Might have been Fenerbahce. When he absolutely ballooned his penalty. So I'm just going to kind of. There's no need for changes at the minute, I don't think. I'm going to stretch my arms and say I'm far from pleased. Rentira's not having a great game. Versace's not having a great game. Mendoza's not having a great game. I'm going to thrash my arms and say I'm furious with their finishing. Mandira's not overly impressed with the fact that I'm not happy with his playing, but he is potentially on the chopping block. Mendoza is just back from a mini holiday he was given because he's his natural fitness is like 6 or 7 or something. It's not very good. So he's struggling a little bit to play a lot of games. But Ignacio Rosas, actually, talking about him, potentially going to be bringing him on for Versace. He's got interest from Liverpool of late, and I only realised he's got a £2.8 million release clause. Just not ideal for us, you know. Quite a good player, could make a lot of money off him, and he's potentially going to be leaving for 2.8 million. Oh, one arrow hits the crossbar twice. That's yeah, that's just our luck of late. I'm gonna take off Versace and bring on Rosas. And Matteo is going to come on for Mandira, even though Mandira is playing better than Mendoza. I still think that's what we're going to do. I've decided that Riffin's going to sit a couple of games out. He's not played for a while, just because he's been missing a number of opportunities, and I'm quite disappointed in him because he's just been really, really wasteful, especially late on in the game. He'll just not score goals when necessary. I'm going to take off Abe, bring on Carlsberg, who, since he came back from his injury, not been great for us. He did score twice for the Faroe Islands in the international break recently. But that's pretty much all he's done. He scored twice, and in a 4-4 draw with Gibraltar. And we've drawn with FmGreeno. At least it wasn't a defeat, but I'm still going to say not happy with that performance. But hands on hips, not going to be too angry with the lads. Pirlescu with a 7.7. Can't really complain too much. I started Abe ahead of Carlsberg because of the fact that Carlsberg hasn't been in as good form. Our boy Gabriel scored a hat trick for Hanvid. He's almost Hungarian. Imagine if he gets a game for Hungary, I'll be delighted. Football's competitive. That's what you want. So we're going to be back in just a second for Bayer Leverkusen. Hopefully we can string together a somewhat decent team. A couple of suspensions and injuries. Not ideal, but we'll be back in just a second for that. Right, fellas, so now it is time for us to take on Bayer Leverkusen, who you might remember we managed in the Director of Football Journeyman save. Had to make a couple of changes for today's game because there is suspensions and injuries. So of course there is. So Rentira is suspended. Ziris and Christian Mark, two of our main centre backs, are injured. So like our second and third, or third and fourth choice centre backs, not available. Bracella is sort of fit to play. We're just not going to risk him. And Mendoza has just been in terrible form, so he's not playing today either. But the changes for today's game: Silva comes in, Puskás is in at centre back, Carlsberg starting on the wing, and Abe up front. I think they're all the changes. Yeah. Why not? This is going to be quite a difficult game, although you never know. Who have Bayer Leverkusen got? So they've still got Tapsoba. Amiri is still there. Florian Wirtz, the player I never gave a chance to. They've got Mustafi and Ezekiel Palacios and Restos. Restos was the player we were told to be worried about, and I was like, all the players you have in the Bayer Leverkusen team, and you're like, worry about this guy? Like, I don't think so. Ooh, Abe is unmotivated by me asking him to score some goals. You know the thing he's been doing an awful lot of recently? Yeah, no, doesn't want to do that. A result against us today, we're definitely in trouble. So we do need to do something in this game, and thankfully Hutwagner is alive to the situation. He's already on a 7, so I'm guessing he's been quite busy in these first 10 minutes or so. Abe's cut loose from Hutwagner, and there the keeper manages to get a hold of it. He's not been that busy. They have 0.08 XG. When we played against Shakhtar Sologorsk, their XG, even though they scored 2 goals, they had like an XG of like 0.4, which was infuriating because we had an XG of like 2 point something. So we've been very wasteful of late. We've hit this annoying form of not being able to score goals earlier this year than we did last season. But we had enough done last season to confirm that we were still a decent team. And Pirlescu really did not do well in that tackle to stop. Was it Demarabi? I think it was Demarabi from getting cross. I'm surprised Amiri is on the wing and Wirtz is in the attacking midfield position. Would not have put him that way around. But who am I to say? I didn't win the Champions League with them. Kovic, quite an easy shot for Perrin, which is an interesting choice for Bayer Leverkusen to be playing, or to have got Mattia Perrin playing for them. But again, who am I to judge? I didn't actually get to sign any players when I was managing Bayer Leverkusen, so I'm not one to be able to talk. Derek is playing absolutely horrendously, but do I want to bring on Suarez? Not really. No. Silva's playing a 6.4. Wanero is playing a 6.3, as is Versace and Carlsberg. So it seems our team is not having a great time. And Florian Wirtz has put the ball in the back of the net, because of course he has. He's come back to haunt me from the previous save I did. I'm going to encourage the lads. Hopefully we can get them to do something. I think we're going to have to make some changes in the not too distant future, because It's not really working out for us at the minute. That was a very hopeful ball. Nothing. I'm trying to think. I might go to a 4-3-3. That was push cash. What was. Sometimes I wonder. Pierlevscu just does not get the ball under control. And now Diaby is free. Thankfully takes a shot. FM20 style. We're just past the hour mark. And we are really, really not doing anything in this game. Abe with the corner. Derek puts it in the back of it. That's why you keep Derek on. That's why Derek plays. Derek is tall. He's dominant in the air. He's on a 6, but that should bring up to like a 6.7. 6.6. Get in. Dude scored a goal. He's still not great. And he's instantly down to a 6.5. Okay. So what we are going to do is, no, we're going to put you in the middle. There you go. False 9. Carlsberg, you can be an advanced forward. I know he's not a goal scorer per se. We're going to put Versace in central midfield, and I'm going to bring on Mendoza for. I'm going to bring him on Madeira. I think Madeira's come off. Silva's playing horrendously. Ongard is going to come on. Ongard hasn't really had too many opportunities this year so far, but he had a really bad injury, so somewhat expected he might struggle to get into the game, or into the team, I suppose. Kovac is dying, so we might have to take him off. And that is just a horrendous goal to concede. That was absolutely awful. How did Alario end up as the only man? That was shocking. That was so bad. That was so bad. Bonaro and Kovac are both quite tired. We're going to bring on Zoltan Katona. We're going to pump our fists at him. He's motivated. We're going to go attacking for the final 10 minutes. Abe with the free kick. Penalty. Oh, the referee's going over to look at the VAR. Derek has scored a goal. He's on a 6.5. He has scored and he's on a 6.5. He's not having a great game. Has to be said. I think this is a penalty. It looked like someone handled the ball. Frimpong handled it. Perlescu steps up to take the penalty. Is this really the wisest decision I've made? It's gone in. That's fine. He hit it with some power. Actually, I don't even know what Perlescu's penalty taking is. I imagine it's quite high, based on the fact that he is our penalty taker this year, since Frid Johnson has left us. But he's put that in the back of the net. I think we stay attacking. Took a bit of encouragement at the lads. Hopefully. Oh, are you what? That is never a penalty. Versace's chasing the ref. It's not a penalty. It's not a penalty. We have to hope that Hutwagner can save this one, or whoever takes it puts it wide. I'm guessing it's going to be Amiri who will take the penalty for them, because that's no penalty. It was outside the area. It's fine. Amiri's going to take the free kick. Hopefully nothing comes of it. So far, no. Oh. I think that cannoned off the crossbar. We have. Okay, so it's a 2-2 draw with Bayer Leverkusen. Carlsberg played a 5.9. Versace played a 5.9. Derek, quite lucky that he scored a goal, because he would have played he would have played less than a 5.9. No doubt about it. I'm going to thrash my arms and say enjoy training tomorrow. But I'm going to shout at these two. Furious with your performance, because to be fair, quite a bad game for them. Still didn't have a great time. To be fair, Abe is the only player in our team that actually played decently well. But I think the Basel Shakhtar game ended 0-0. So in theory, we're still in with a shout. We've taken points off the top team. I would say that's not too bad. I obviously not a bit impressed with the fact that we lost that game. So we're going to have to come back at some point in the Europa League run, because we have potential to make it through. So maybe Pech Shakhtar Sologorsk, and maybe we'll have a look at the um, what's it called, youth intake preview thing, because we have increased our training and youth facilities recently. Our finances are fantastic. We're also now valued at 36 million. We are doing pretty good, and we've 10.5 million in the bank. So can't really complain about that. I'm quite happy. Our projection is looking decent, I guess. But that is where we're going to leave this episode. If you haven't, Wagner's on a 6.52. It's dropping for a little while. If you have enjoyed this episode, do make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, share with all of your friends, and I will see you in the next one.